Forecasting and Pro Forma Financial Statements. Forecasting and Judgmental Modeling. Learning Module 5, Lecture LM5b. We have covered how to read and analyze financial statements. Much of what we do regarding the financing of a tourism business or organization is to seek out additional financial capital in order to make strategic decisions about the future of the business or organization. This requires the estimation of our financial condition in the future. Banks require the development of future estimates in order for them to make loan decisions. Investors consider the future of the business when making investment decisions. We cannot begin a financial statement without an estimation of sales. The financial statements that arise from such sales estimations are pro forma financial statements. Arriving at these estimations is called forecasting. Basically, forecasting is a quantifiable estimate of the future. For a tourism business, it means establishing or estimating the future demand for our products and services. Forecasting also requires the estimate of future interest rates. Even with sophisticated mathematical and computer modeling, forecasting is not completely accurate. However, businesses that forecast have much higher success rates than those that don't. The result of forecasting approaches and the development of pro forma financial statements is an important aspect of the budgeting process. Forecasting isn't simply sitting down and making guesses as to future demand for your tourism products or services. It requires a step-by-step process that hopefully, if done correctly, will lead the financial manager to an accurate as possible assessment of the financial condition of the tourism business sometime in the future. There are 6 steps to the forecasting process. Step 1 is to determine the type of forecasting model to use. This requires 6 basic questions be answered. Who will be using the forecast and what information do they require? How relevant and available are historical data? How accurate must the forecast be? What is the time period for the forecast? How much time do we have to develop the forecast? And what is the cost or benefit of this forecast to our business? Step 2 is to determine the forecast horizon. The length of time horizon impacts accuracy. The longer the time horizon of the forecast, the less accurate the forecast is going to be. The time horizon should be at least as long as your strategic plan. Step 3 is to select one or more forecasting models. Selection of the model is based on the 6 questions previously discussed. Feel free to utilize several forecasting models if appropriate. Step 4 is to evaluate the forecasting model. This evaluation should consider factors such as the information the forecast requires, the kinds of decisions to be made based on that information, and a consideration of the current and future external environment that the business exists in. Do not blindly follow the recommendations of the forecasting model without thinking about the impact the external environment may have on the forecast. Step 5 is to apply the chosen forecasting model. Application of the model and the specific units of measurement depend on the area of our tourism business for which you are using the model. Long-range general business plans are usually expressed in dollars. Production planning requires the models be expressed in units of production. Personnel planners require that results of the model be broken down into human resource requirements. When production, human resources, and financial forecasts are all involved, consider how one or more models can be applied to each in order to supply one forecast. Step 6 is to monitor and control the model. Forecasts should be adjusted any time they no longer reflect reality. However, all a forecast really has to do is provide accurate enough information to allow the writing of business plans that accurately reflect management needs. There are three basic types of forecasting models. Judgmental models use qualitative methods of collecting data and focus to a large extent on estimates based on expert opinion in order to make quantitative forecasts of sales for both existing and new tourism products and services. Time series models utilize quantitative methods and historical records within a firm or industry in order to predict future sales. They are therefore referred to as intrinsic or internal forecasting models. Their basic assumption is that past sales are a fairly accurate predictor of future sales. Causal models are cause and effect models that examine the impact of changing factors on future sales. They are known as external or exogenous models because they explore and take into account variables in the general economy and external to a business or industry that affect a business's revenue. There are 5 types of judgmental forecasting models. Surveys of sales force are conducted by managers to determine future sales. The approach is to combine individual sales estimates for sales territories into a total company forecast. This approach generally requires the presence of an existing sales force. These are most appropriate for manufacturing and wholesale firms where individual sales of products are made directly to major customers. For example, a manufacturer of hotel supplies might survey its sales force regarding future orders of those supplies to key hotel chains in the coming year. Surveys of customers can be appropriate for all types of businesses, but are particularly effective for those businesses that have relatively few large customers. For example, the manufacturer of hotel supplies might survey its large customers to obtain planned purchases. Smaller firms might survey past customers from databases to determine the demographic breakdown of customers and potentials for repeat business. Market research involves administering surveys to target markets and potential target markets. The objective is to obtain information from a representative sample of members of a target market that are generalizable to the overall population of that target market. For example, a new resort development in the mountains of Colorado may hire a market research firm to obtain information from a sample of families in Colorado about their interest in visiting such a resort in the coming year. The market researcher would take the result of this research and make statistical estimates of visitation or sales to this resort for the coming year. Tools such as telephone surveys, mail questionnaires, and internet surveys are often used for this type of research. Historical analogy is useful when there is no previous data about a product or service, but there is data available for similar products or services. This is particularly useful for a new business or a business developing and providing new products or services. Estimates of sales for your new product or service can be made from existing data from similar services you or others might have provided. For example, a whitewater raft company that has historically provided trips in the southeast United States may be able to make initial predictions of demand or sales of trips at its new location in the Pacific Northwest United States. The Delphi method uses a panel of experts to obtain a consensus of opinion about, for example, demand for a new and unique ski resort in the Colorado mountains. This approach is often used for unique new products or services for which there is little or no previous data available. A questionnaire might be sent to a committee of experts with a description of the new ski resort and asks the panel to present best guesses of future demand. The market researcher gathers and evaluates the information and sends revised information to the panel with a request to newly evaluate this information. This process is repeated until little new information is provided and a general consensus of potential future demand for the unique ski resort is reached. This ends Lecture LM5b on forecasting and judgmental modeling. Please continue to Lecture LM5c on forecasting and time series modeling.